Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on KCTV5 Plus on your Saturday. We are breaking in right now with coverage on No Kings protests that are happening across the metro right now. We have crews that have been taking videos and photos. And then we also have our reporter, Ali Espinosa, out at Mill Creek Park right now. We're going to bring her up in just a moment here. Ali, go ahead and tell me, there's a lot of people behind you. Have you been able to speak to anyone yet there?
Yeah, like you said, there are so many people here. Actually, on my way into work today at about 1 o'clock, this entire park was already full of people. Now, we've only been here for a couple of minutes, but I did speak with a mom who brought her two daughters here. She says she feels it's really important to bring her young daughters to speak their voice, to grow up and see things like this happening in our world as they're unfolding. She even got emotional, explaining that she feels really overwhelmed with different things going on in our country, and even here locally in Kansas City. I'm going to step out of the way so you guys can see just the crowds of people. I mean, there's even people lining down the streets all the way down into the plaza, all around it. Even more people just keep coming and coming in. Honestly, the main message that people here are hoping to send is to speak their voice, and that no one has specific control over the country, that the people ultimately do. I can't say that the mood right now has been really calm. People have been very happy, in really good moods. They've been really willing to talk with us and let us share pictures of their different signs. Some people have been chanting, other people have been singing. So far, people seem to be in really, really good spirits. Another guy came up to us asking if he would hug us, that he's giving free hugs to show no violence, to stop, to not have violence. But you guys can just see the amount of people bringing their kids, their dogs. It's pretty indescribable.
Yeah, Ali, lots of people out there at the moment. I see lots of sign, lots of people. This is not the first time that we've seen the No Kings protests out here at Mill Creek Park. I guess, has anyone told you why they want to keep showing up and keep coming to these protests?
Well, Gianni, back to that mom that I talked to, she says really it's really up to her and people like her, us, the community, to speak and share our voices and raise our concerns. Actually, just a few moments before we just went live, a group here right next to me, they were talking about redistricting happening here in Kansas City that we've covered extensively here on KCTV5. So really it just comes down to people raising their voices, raising their concerns, and wanting to be heard.
Sorry, Ali, I was muted. You mentioned redistricting. I was asking.
worries.
I was asking, has anyone come up to you, or have you spoken to anyone about other reasons why they are out there to protest besides redistricting today?
We did speak with a local teachers group just yesterday. I did a story and also this week on different issues with daycare and childcare here in Kansas City just yesterday because of the federal government shutdown. Possibly 17 different Head Start sites here in Kansas City could be closing because they're losing funding. So we did speak with a group here that are here just for that, to share and bring awareness to that. Other than that, we can only assume, and we expect other local groups to be here, so we'll definitely be going out and speaking with them and asking them why they're here.
Ali, lots of people there. I'm sure lots of reasonings to be there at this rally. We appreciate you for bringing that coverage, and I'm sure we'll hear more from you on our newscast this evening. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. All right, and we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back for your forecast for today. Stay with us. That was my actual first one doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. If I'm everybody's agent, I'm like, you're not going face to face with her. I want a separate screen. They did that with my wife when she was anchoring at Pika. She was the weekend anchor. The main anchor said,
Hi there, I'm First Warn 5 meteorologist Mike Nico. Hopefully you're having a great Saturday. It's been relatively quiet here around the metro, but down to the south it's been very active, and some of that's starting to bubble up our way. So we're going to take a look at that. We do have the first warn that goes into effect here in a couple of hours, not only for the thunderstorms that are possible, but also for the winds that are going to be gusting up to 40 miles per hour as we head into the evening hours. So we want to make sure you're ready for that. So let's take a look at the radar right now. And what you're going to see is a pretty healthy line of storms over towards Marshall, Sedalia, Warrensburg, but those are moving away. Now that precipitation shield you see that's moving northward, most of that is evaporating before it reaches the ground. So I'm not too worried about that right now, and it's keeping our temperatures pretty cool. I mean, I think we're about 75 degrees right now. So that precipitation, as it evaporates, just like off your skin, it's creating a cooling effect. So temperature is a little bit cooler today, more fall-like. I'm going to keep my eye on that cold front. That's the secondary cold front that's coming through. That's the one that's going to introduce us to the cooler temperatures and rewrite the ship as far as autumn goes and finally bring autumn temperatures back into the forecast. But that cool front up there in the upper left side of your screen is also the one that's going to kick off some more showers and thunderstorms possible. Right now, As I said, around the metro, everything's pretty quiet. You may feel a few sprinkles the next hour or two. So let's kind of jump in and take a look at future radar. And you can see the strongest of the storms well to our south and east. Those start to move a little bit closer as we head to the 5 o'clock hour. Keep an eye on those coming in from the south. We'll also keep an eye on what's coming in from the northwest. So let's move from about 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. You can see a line of storms trying to develop around Chillicothe, Richmond, Lee's Summit, Blue Springs, down towards Olathe and Ottawa and Paola. Some of those look pretty strong, and there's still the possibility that we could have some strong storms, but the likelihood of severe not really that great. Now the cold front is starting to move in. That's what you're seeing around Bethany and between Cameron and St. Joe, all the way down to Olathe and Paola. By the time he gets here, there's not a lot of moisture to work with, which is good as far as severe weather goes. But there's some of us that haven't received any rain from this system that would really like a good soaking. And if you don't get it out of these 2 rounds, that's it. We're done until possibly Thursday. We're finished until possibly Thursday of this upcoming week. And you can see the clouds opening up and the transition to autumn taking place. This is what I mean about severe weather. See there, Benton County, even the southeastern half of Benton County is the only area that is in that 1 out of 5 for wind, hail, and possibly a tornado. But we really have the better chance of tornadoes down around the Arklatex, around say like Shreveport and Bossier and Texarkana, Texas. That's where there's actually a tornado watch in effect right now. So our rain chances are going to ramp up to 40% here in about 36 minutes. And then we've got that first warn from about 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock because these storms that come in, it may be impactful. They should be impactful for your evening plans, and the winds that are coming in with them also impactful. If you're out at some of these events where there's tents, or canopies, if they're not tied down well or they don't have the sandbags over them, when you get a 40-mile-per-hour gust, there are some issues that could develop. So as far as temperatures go, you definitely want to have a coat with you if you're heading out this evening after the sun sets. Not only is the temperature dropping from 76 coming up at 4 o'clock to 65 at 8 o'clock, but when you throw in that wind, that'll be at least 20 miles per hour sustained, gusting up to 40. That's going to put a little bit of a bite in the air, and that's going to make it feel cooler. And you can see those winds really starting to ramp up at about 8 o'clock. Now, here's what I'm talking about, the rainfall totals. Yesterday, I went to late night, as many of you did, over at KU, drove back through just pouring rain, got to Olathe, just like a line, it just stopped. Olathe got about 500. You go farther to the east, over towards South OP, Hendersonville, Lee Summit, Warrensburg, absolutely nothing. We were left with absolutely nothing. So there are some areas that definitely need some rain, and we'd like to get some. Not a great rainmaker unless you're around, say, Paola, Lacine, Garnett, maybe Butler over towards Warrensburg and Sedalia. Those areas are getting hit hardest now. The rest of us, with those couple of waves that are coming in the next couple of hours, maybe up to a 10th, 1/1500ths of an inch of rain. The soaking rains from last night, the soaking rains we're seeing down to the south, not really in the offing, but it's a little bit of rain, and we'll take it even this time of the year. Let's talk about the winds and how they will impact your evening. Here we are at 4 o'clock, and around those thunderstorms down to the south, around Butler and Lacine, they're cranking out anywhere from 10 to 15, gusts up to 25 miles per hour. But look what's happening over Nebraska and Iowa, and watch as that just rolls in. And here we are at 7 o'clock, gusts hitting 36 miles per hour in Kansas City, 41 in Atchison. That is a little tough to deal with. And then you can see as we head to 10 o'clock, we're still dealing with 35 to 45 mile per hour gusts. So these gusts are going to hang around for 3 to 4 to 5 hours. So a couple of things are going to happen. If trees have some weak limbs, which they do because we've been in the drought and they're so stressed, some of those limbs, they're going to shake them out. They're going to come down to the ground. They may fall on your roof. They may fall on your car. So, some advice this evening, park away from trees. The winds, you never know. They could shake those trees down and you could have a branch, and we don't want to be calling the insurance agent because of that. Once we get past 10 o'clock, you can see by tomorrow morning, we still have some breezy conditions. I mean, that's what happens when we change seasons, when we change air masses. The wind, the pressure gradient is pretty strong, and that's what creates those winds. And we really haven't had a front like this, obviously, because we've had summer for so long, and this is the one that's going to finally bring in fall. You may have seen the article or the weather hit I did, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday on the weather show. It's also posted on the KCTV5 website, and also my Facebook will take you there. Talking about why this is happening, the several cold fronts we have coming our way, and some of these storms were typhoons at one point in the Pacific Ocean. So this is definitely the flipping of the pattern. Now, with the changing of the cold air, tomorrow, once the sun comes up and the air is warmed a little bit and it starts to rise, those faster winds just off the surface will quickly shoot down to the surface. So we're going to have a gusty couple of hours in the morning, say around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, even up till about noon, which is Chiefs game. So if you're tailgating tomorrow morning, be aware that around 8:30 or 9 o'clock, we're going to have some secondary winds that could gust up to 25 miles per hour. So make sure you have everything locked down, whether it's the canopy, whether it's the tent, whether it's the utensils, the napkins, the paper plates. Just be aware that they may blow around a little bit up until game time. And then through the game time, we'll have a nice comfortable breeze around 10, 15 miles per hour. And that'll feel great, especially if you're in the sun, because if you're in the sun tomorrow, it's going to feel a little bit warmer than these temperatures. Now, if you're in the shade, it's going to feel a little bit cooler. Here, let me get myself off here so you can see the fourth quarter. So, tailgating. If you're there when the gates open, you're in the 40s. Most of the morning will slowly warm, or rise. It's trying to coin a new word there. To about 59 at kickoff. And then a comfortable 64 at halftime and a nice 66 as the game ends around 3:30, 3:45. All right, so that's a look at the forecast and what to expect if you are tailgating. Also, out at Arrowhead tomorrow. Got a big game. The Raiders are going to be playing better under Pete Carroll. He's a good coach, knows what he's doing. So it's not going to be the easiest test. Plus, it's a division game. So there we go. So 45 in the morning and then 66 in the afternoon. And that is pretty close to average. Look at these lows. They always say during the seasons, change the filters in your furnace. You might want to do that because the furnace is probably going to kick on now. Mine hasn't kicked on. Maybe you saved some money and yours hasn't kicked on. But with lows 45 Sunday morning, maybe. The house is still going to be pretty warm from the past couple of months. 50 Monday, 47 Tuesday, almost in the 30s by Wednesday. We've just passed the date of our first frost. It is today. Today is the average first day of our first frost. Wednesday, you have to get to 36. Maybe some of you outside the city could definitely be there. For the rest of us, we're going to have to wait a little bit longer, and then you can see Thursday we start to warm up just a little bit. So those are the overnight lows. How about we just take a look at the entire Security Bank 7-day forecast and give you an idea, again, what to expect. So for the rest of today, we're going to warm up. Next couple hours, we'll hang out in the mid-70s. Then 45 overnight. Remember, it's going to be breezy tomorrow morning up until game time, and then sunshine. Make sure you take the sunglasses. 66 degrees. And then we're kind of roller coasting. We've got a southerly wind that kicks in Monday. That warms us back to 75. But then we're down to 63 because another cold front, a dry cold front's coming through, but it's reinforcing that fall flavor, 47 and 63. And it's also reinforcing the sunshine. I mean, we're looking at a whole lot of sunshine. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. If you run on sun, you're going to be so energized by these next couple of days. Wednesday morning looks like our coolest morning out in the burbs in the upper 30s. The rest of us more in the city, about 41, but we'll warm to 70. Out ahead of, again, another cold front. They're coming fast and furious the next couple of days. And that'll drop us into the mid and upper 60s and bring us our next chance of wet weather Thursday and Friday. We're looking at about 40% on Thursday, some thunderstorms possible. And then on Friday, a 30% chance and about 68 degrees. So that's a walk through your entire Security Bank 7-day forecast. And of course, tomorrow with all the changes in the weather coming our way. Now it's 3:30 right now. Wisconsin's playing Ohio State on the TV right now on the TV side. We will be on more than likely around 6:30 this evening. We being me and Gianni, and I think it's Mark, right? Is Mark doing sports? Johnny's sitting right there. He's been listening the whole time. So Mark will be in with sports recapping today. I know Mizzou's got a big game, but it's not till 6:30. So we're going to have an update on everything that Gianni talked about and I talked about in sports. So we sure hope to see you then. Otherwise, thanks for stopping by and checking out your forecast and the news with Gianni. In fact, she's going to come back right here. So I'm going to sign off for now, and I'll see you at 6:30 this evening over on the television side. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much for sticking with us on KCTV5 Plus. We are covering No Kings protests across the metro. Over a dozen of protests are happening at this very moment from Lee Summit, Platte City, Liberty, Overland Park, Excelsior Springs, and even here near the plaza at Mill Creek Park, where we have our Ali Espinosa going to bring us a full report on that. To make sure we are sticking with this coverage, I'm going to direct you to our website. We're going to have all the coverage, videos, pictures, and everything we've had from our team so far today on KCTV5.com. You can see videos there, but make sure to stick with KCTV5. This evening, we'll bring you coverage again from our Ali Espinosa and more updates on weather on KCTV5. Meteorologist Mike Nico and myself will see you then. Have a great rest of your Saturday evening.